Stage 1, pressing for flight. Launch reactor on countdown 1. We are go for launch.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started.
The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast where the schedule never holds. I am your host.
Man, don't worry, you didn't hit the speed up button on your player.
I am your host, Stephen Marr. And joining me tonight, we have Mr. Stephen Keegle.
Hello.
And Mr. Matt Cutshaw.
Yo.
And Miss Becca Penland.
Hello.
And our special guest tonight, man, I met at Playa Linda many years ago, like a year and a half, I don't know. But we have Chance from Launch360. Hello, Chance.
Hey, glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yes. Our pleasure. So we met at Playa Linda, waiting on a launch, and I think like you were up on the crossover, and I had to like run back to my car for some reason, and I'm walking by you, and I'm like, what in the world is this? And you had this contraption on top of a tripod, a very tall tripod, and with a bunch of GoPros. So I guess, just tell us what was going on there.
Yeah, so that was my 360 setup back at the start. Actually, I guess I'll start at the start of Launch 360. It was really just a few of my friends, two friends, also engineering students at USF.
Yeah.
And we were just sitting on a couch and, bored as college students be.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, hey, let's start filming launches in virtual reality. So that's what we ended up doing. And what you had seen was our 8K virtual reality rig.
Oh, is there a picture of it I could pull up?
Yeah, actually,
I know you sent me the link to your page, but
I'm not sure if I have a picture of the rig itself. I would have actually brought it over from my storage if I had thought of that.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. I was like, man, yeah, because it's actually really cool looking. It's like it's a cube, but it's just the corners have like the structure, and then in the middle there you've got your GoPros. Is it?
Yep.
6 GoPros?
Yeah, six.
So
Six
it
in
is.
total.
So it is 6. Okay, so.
Yeah, so what they do is they'll all film in the fisheye lens. So each of them films a kind of a section of a sphere, and then in post you stitch all of those together into an actual spherical image. And then you get the virtual reality.
Now tell me how long that took to stitch those videos together. I remember you saying it was very difficult.
Yeah, it does take a bit. It was actually a little bit harder because being college students, we were looking for the cheapest routes of doing things, and GoPro was actually just discontinuing that model and all of the software related to it as we went to pick it up. So a lot of the updates for Windows would completely break the entire software, stitching software. So we'd have to go in there and manually reprogram things and kind of push our own updates. And it got to the point where we just couldn't fix it. So we ended up making a Hackintosh, which is kind of like a fake Mac, like you're loading Mac OS onto a Windows.
Right. I've heard of it. Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never done it, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So everything, I think for the later half of all of our videos was probably done on that Hackintosh there. And it would take anywhere between, I'd say, 2 to 3 days of actually like stitching and making sure there's no like parallax issues and any other sorts of issues.
Right.
I will say though, about 5 to 10 minutes of launch footage would come out to about 200 to 300 gigabytes worth of footage.
Jeez.
So it took a lot of processing power. I think it took a good 7 to 8 hours to actually render the footage afterwards, and that's with that's with a high-end gaming PC.
Wow. So man, so you can't even really afford the space to like keep all that footage, really, right? Or
what
do you do with it? You don't have like a bunch of external hard drives, do you? With all that stored on there?
Now I kind of do. I have, I think, the last 3 or 4, but I mean, after a while, it becomes like, why are we even saving this footage at this point with the raw footage?
Once it's stitched together, you might as well just live with that. Yeah.
Yeah, but originally we would just delete it after the final product was good, and we were happy with it.
Yeah.
When I say we, it was 3 in the beginning, and that 3 just through, we're all college students, so through just getting jobs and moving away and whatnot, it's kind of dwindled down to just me. So when you see Launch360, you're talking to me. So
you got him right here.
Yeah,
man. And I remember when, like, I don't think at first I knew that it was available for VR, but I had recently gotten an Oculus, like not long before I met you, and it took some doing because I don't remember what the deal was. Like it was kind of hard to find the YouTube VR app through Oculus. It was kind of a pain, but once you got it, man, that was awesome, dude. Like to sit there in VR, it's about as close as you can get to the real thing without actually coming here, But what I really liked was that as you're watching, you're looking straight out and you can see, the launch pad in front of you, and you can look down and you had like put like an information panel below it.
Yep.
And then you had the webcast on there, like as it was happening, and you had it all synced up and stuff.
Yeah. So that was just through a lot of trial and error. And actually, fun fact, I'm glad you mentioned like watching it in virtual reality. I actually hadn't seen any of my videos in virtual reality until I'd say probably near the end of it. And I had a virtual reality headset the entire time. I just never thought to kind of put it on. I know it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's your own.
But it completely changed the entire perspective of the video. It's a lot like if you've seen our videos in like on your phone or like just watching on a computer, it's completely different with the headset on. It's like you're actually there. That little dot of light going up the sky on like a computer screen turns into like you're actually standing there watching the rocket.
Yeah, and the sound is great too. I mean, on Oculus, the headphones are actually really good, I think. I mean, I'm sure, an audiophile would say otherwise, but they sound really good. They're nice and bassy, and whatever you're using to record the audio, it wasn't like clipping out like crazy, it sounded really good.
Yeah, so I used it was a Zoom, I think it's the H3 VR. I think Cosmic Perspective actually uses it for their videos as well.
Okay, cool.
Audio as well.
Oh, Seth and Daryl, what up, y'all, in chat? Yeah, that would probably be what I laid down for them for the landing on this one.
Yeah, probably, most likely, yeah.
Because Mary Liz just handed me this thing. It looked like a troll doll with the big fuzzy. I don't know. I'm not even sure. Let's see. What was it? What's it called again? I'll just look for I don't know if y'all in chat are enjoying that video.
For the microphone.
Yeah, I just want to look at a picture of it.
It kind of looks like a pyramid, almost like an upside down ice cream cone in a way.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because it captures ambisonic audio, so it will actively track positioning. So in the video, if I drag it over a virtual reality video, and all the positionings lined up, if you turn your head in the video, the sound tracks with you.
Yes, it definitely. Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, Kegel, you've got an Oculus. You never did watch any of his videos yet, did you?
No, I haven't even fired my Oculus up in like, I don't know, 7-8 months.
Yeah, I think I think I'm pushing a year on mine myself, but
I don't even know if it works.
I'm just waiting. I don't know if I'm waiting for anything. It's just like, well, actually, here's what I'm waiting for my roommate Brad to figure out how to do Grand Theft Auto on VR, because it's now possible. There's some mod you can do, and you can definitely play Grand Theft Auto in VR. So I want to do that, but that's
What?
yeah, and it's really Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, it's the real game, and they figured out how to mod it. Yeah, so.
They modded so you can still use the regular game controller, because the navigation in is VR is horrible.
Let's see. I think they've modded it. Like at first, you could only use the game controller, and now you now you can do either.
You mean the original game controller?
Use the Xbox.
Xbox.
Xbox controller.
Okay, that's why I like Xbox.
Yeah.
A lot of the mods you can really use those.
Do what?
So usually, like when they make mods, like those kind of modded ports for regular games in the VR, you usually can only use like the game pads, like the Xbox controllers or PS4.
Yeah. But
So with that Zuni chance, you get that what, Musician's Friend is where you picked that up at?
Yeah, what was it called again? I wanted to show a picture.
Oh, it's the Zoom. It's the H3 VR.
H3 VR, like
Yeah,
ZOO. Okay, here we go. Yeah, H3 VR.
Yeah. I think I picked that one up at just B&H Audio because I had pre-ordered it. It was right when it was probably a few months after they announced it. I was like, you know what, I might as well, look into investing into getting one of those, and I did, and I was happy with it. I still use it for non-VR stuff. It's great just to get the footage and to put it out.
Yeah, this is definitely what they gave me. Like the pictures here don't have, like, they've got the, what do you call it? It's not just a pop filter. That's something different.
Yeah, I've always just called it like a dead cat. That's what I've
dead cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, when she handed it to, it had a lot of use, and so it just looked like a troll doll. But yeah, so let's see. So did I just miss the landing? I've got the stream going. I like to have the stream going of whatever the last launch was whenever we start the show. But anyway, so since you brought that up, I do have that video that I got to take for Cosmic Perspective. Okay, so here's what happened. I work in a pizza place, and I guess it's probably best practice not to say which one, but whatever. And they happened to come in and pick up a pizza, Ryan and Mary Liz, and I recognized them and said, "Oh, hey, what's going on?" And just like a few hours earlier, I found out that instead of just laying remotes at that site that's 2.5 miles from the landing pad, that we were going to actually get to be there. So I was super stoked about it. I was like, guess what we get to do? Oh my gosh. No, like, don't tell anybody, because, I heard this from somebody else, and Jim he hasn't told me yet. But that we were going to get to be there. And Ryan, like, he was kind of misunderstanding me. He thought maybe I meant that, like, all the media people were going to get to do it. And he was like, his face was just lighting up. He was like, oh man. And then, like, Mary Liz kind of nudged him. He's like, no, just the lottery winners. And he's like, oh. And I kind of felt bad about that. So the next day I reached out to him and I was like, hey man, I saw how much you lit up, and and I know you'd like to get some great footage from out there. Would you want me to take your camera with me? And I'll set it up. I'll do the best I can. I can't promise anything, but I'll give it a shot. And so that's what we did. So he sent me with his high-speed camera, 160 frames per second. And then whenever I was getting the camera from him, Mary Liz was like, hey, and if you could do me a favor and just put this somewhere, you don't have to, just set it down, hit record, and you don't have to think about it. And so I'd say we've probably all seen this by now, but I wanted to play it on the show. I'm really happy with how it turned out. The only thing is it was pitch black. So pointing was almost impossible. We had a slight glow where we were assuming was where the landing pad was, because I guess they probably have some floodlights out there. But even then, I would look through the viewfinder and I couldn't see anything because it was a digital viewfinder. So it wasn't like I'm looking with, seeing actual light. I'm seeing a representation for what the lens is seeing, but the lens ain't seeing much. So I really couldn't see anything. So I literally had to stare down the barrel of the lens and kind of try to line that up with where I think I'm pointing. And so what you're seeing here is actually the bottom right corner of a 4K video. Whenever we loaded it up on Ryan's computer, when it was all over, it turned out that out of this entire frame, the rocket was coming in on the right side. So he was like, well, this is 4K. So what I can do is I can just chop out a 1080p section of it and let that be the video. But yeah, here it is. So you can hear all the cameras clicking. And this is real-time audio synced up with the slow-mo.
Like a car alarm.
Yeah. I love that. Everybody clapping. Yeah, and so I'm not like manning the camera. I pointed it because I had my own camera stuff going on. So I pointed it, and during like when the first stage wasn't firing at all, like before the reentry burn, I hit record on it and just hoped for the best, and then was taking shots. My shots didn't come out great. I'm sorry. But that turned out pretty good, and so I'm glad that at least that happened. But man, I can't tell you how intense that is. Like you think it seems like it's coming down on top of you when you're at Jetty Park. Man, it is just so close, dude. It's like
I can imagine.
it's like watching the webcast, but better. Like how those views, whenever it's coming down, on the webcast, it's just incredible, dude. I mean, what I was seeing through my viewfinder was awesome. The photos didn't come out how I was hoping. I was trying to be tricky, which I've tried to do with launch photos, like liftoff shots before, where I try to like expose down to try to get some detail in the flame and then possibly bring up the rest and stuff. But that was kind of a foolish move because it was just so dark out there that there was nothing to work with. So in order to bring it up high enough to be able to see the booster itself, it got noisy, and I don't know. It was fun, but my photos didn't turn out that great. It was like when it was over, it was like, man, I almost wish I would have just watched and not taken any pictures. but that was awesome. If you ever get a chance to enter one of Jim's lotteries, man, do it, because he always comes up with some cool stuff. Like the last one he did that I remember was being able to set a remote at the next pad over from 41, right?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Well, from the perspective of a person that did just watch and didn't take any pictures, it was the coolest thing. It was so cool to see. What was the nebula? Is that what it's called?
That's what we call it. Yeah, it's not officially.
Nebula.
Yeah.
Right. But I've never seen anything like that before. It made me forget I was cold.
Yeah. Oh.
Because it was really cold that night. For that moment, I was not cold anymore.
I was out with Becca on the beach, and then when the first stage fires up to slow it down, it looks like it's over you. Like it's sort of weird.
Yep. Straight above you.
And people around are like, what?
Yeah.
And it's gonna come down and land on them.
And that was the point, and I've probably brought this up before, but on the Mars show that Net Geo did, they've got the clip of Elon watching the first successful landing, and he saw it come down. It looked like it was right on top of his head, and he was like, "Oh, this is bad." Like he's like, "No, really, this is bad."
You couldn't see what's going on just looking out in the sky.
Yeah, because it really does, man. When your head's angled up like that, it feels like it is coming down on top of you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was.
I'm right.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I'm right there with Becca. I've never seen it actually separate like that. It's about as clear as you can without looking through a lens. You know what I mean? Just to be able to see it as plain as day, seeing the booster separation like that was just amazing. Because just like you were saying, I couldn't get my 600 wouldn't focus on anything. It was just too dark, man. Way too dark. I couldn't get nothing but.
Well, there's a trick to it. I know, like Eric Kuna is really good at it. Trevor Malman's really good at it. I think John Kraus got a really good one of it. Like those guys, they know exactly what settings to go to, and like I feel like I'm still at that stage where I feel comfortable enough to like change my shutter speed a bunch, but I'm not dialing it into just the right thing, and they know right where to go. And it's one of those things that takes time. Those events, even though we have a lot of launches, those types of events are rare enough that it takes a long time to dial that in. So I got a lot of respect for those guys. They know right where to go on those settings and then how to edit it just right to bring it out. But it was kind of neat. Where we were. Oh, I was gonna have like a video pulled up because I found this. I found this video of where we were. It was, let's see.
I had like three cameras going, so it was.
Let's see, Navajo pad 9, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, muted. Yeah, you'll be able to see the pad that we're on because we were on a launch pad. I didn't realize we were going to be on a launch pad. Let's see, where's it at? It is this video. I'm almost certain. Oh, right, is this? Bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Come on.
Yeah, Kegel ended up getting a pretty good streak too.
Yeah, Kegel got a great one. Oh yeah, let's talk about yours, man. You got
Kegel. What was that? A 10 millimeter you used?
6 millimeter.
6 millimeter. That's right. 6 millimeter. Yeah, he was able to get that actual like landing and everything. Man, that was a great shot.
Yeah, that was big lens. You can get everything. I had to crop it in.
Yeah, that was wide on all sides.
Yeah, you got yours with the with Buzz and Woody, and
oh yeah, man,
and then found out. Yeah, that's not right.
Oh, that was crazy. So I did that picture. It completely blew up. I had it was just shared all over. Come to find after the fact that Buzz Aldrin was actually in town and was watching that launch. He was here in Cape Canaveral, and he was in town watching that launch. So you had Buzz and Buzz watching the launch together.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And it turned out great, man. Like, I guess you had to do some blending or something.
I did end up having to do a little bit of magic with because
I'm not going to
halfway through, Buzz ended up falling over, and I realized after that I was like, "Oh no!"
It was during the exposure.
It was during the exposure he fell over, so I actually had to stop the long exposure and then set him up and then go about it again. Went into Photoshop, but luckily enough, I was still able to get the whole streak because he wasn't. It wasn't. I picked it up just in time to be able to actually still get the streak. So
yeah.
And we were just talking about the nebula. I just got a notification. SpaceX actually just released a video of it on Twitter.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep,
really?
I just saw that. I was wondering what that was.
What's the
tracking footage?
What's the perspective? Where is it from the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably from those big old huge telescopes they got.
Oh, that's cool. Here, y'all want me to blow it up? I guess.
Blow it on up.
Yeah.
Blow it all kinds of up.
Looks kind of pixelated, blown up, but that's Twitter for you.
Yeah, and that one guy was able to get like they called the eye, the nebula eye.
Yeah.
And Bill ended up setting it as the cover photo in the group.
Yeah, I think they titled it "The Eye of Elon" or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and that nebula was. I mean, I was 120 miles away in Tampa. I couldn't really drive over for this one. I was up on the top of a parking garage with a group of students, and it was prominently visible.
Really?
It was there. I got messages from people in South Carolina saying they could see it. People in Georgia saying they could see it.
That's awesome.
Tallahassee, I got some pictures from there. So I mean, it was perfect clear skies for it too.
There were a lot of people on top of that pad. Like we were thinking that it was just going to be us 5 that had gotten drawn from the hat, and like 15-20 minutes before launch, like all these people started showing up, like all these VIPs. I don't know who they were VIPs for, but there were just a bunch of people that some of them had never even seen a launch. You could tell just by the way, they didn't really know what was going on or what to expect. And when this started happening, like there were people like, oh my gosh, like they were responding positively, but they had no idea, like, what is that? That is so beautiful. And so I just shouted out, like, the first stage is coming back and the second stage is going on and the engines, they're pointed towards each other and their plumes are interacting, and it's so beautiful.
And then there's 2 other people on the side going, what is that guy?
Actually, no, they were like, oh. So it was good. I was able to quickly explain what was going on in a way that they could understand it. And John commented his photo right under it. Where, man, a lot of people got that zoomed in shot of separation, like the streak form, here, so you see what I'm talking about. This right here, like John got that, a couple other people got it, and I'm like, okay, how you doing that?
Yeah,
I am curious how really
I'm guessing, Flight Club will show you the background stars, but I haven't gotten it. Like, there's an option on there to have it show you constellations, but I don't know if there's something I'm doing wrong. But I checked that box and it never shows them to me. And with all those stars, it's kind of hard to tell exactly because this could be just some obscure spot in the sky. So I don't know if this is like they're actively tracking with their camera, and then when they know that Miko's about to happen, they lock their tripod and then hit like just a 30-second exposure. I'm sure that's all it takes. You don't have to do bulb necessarily. Maybe, I don't know. They might say differently, but I would think that might be the way to do it. Or you're just so good at using Flight Club that you know how to, find those background stars and get your camera pointed in just the right spot. But they're zoomed in so far that even with like a short exposure, you could see the tracking or the streaks on these stars. It's pretty cool. I mean, that's another thing I guess I want to try. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Yeah, it shows you the, kind of the mechanics behind it. The second stage continues on, and then the first stage just like peels out and goes up.
Yeah.
Which is kind of neat. Like in the animations, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the early animations, they always showed it like first stage flipped around and just kind of like hit the brakes on its forward momentum and then just started going backwards. But if you stop moving in space, like you will start falling, right? Like if you cancel out all that momentum, then you would start falling, right? Unless you could quickly get that momentum back maybe, but I guess, I don't know, they just figured out the best way to do it is just go like up and then kind of angle yourself right for re-entry. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but let's see. So CRS Dragon made it to space station. There's a little video of it being captured.
And at 5:25 a.m. Central Time.
There you go, 5:25 a.m. Central. I'm just showing the video. It's just, there's not much going on. It's just the mission control. So they captured it. It'll be up there for roughly 30 days. It's not exact. They have to do their scheduling and stuff, and because they do actually need someone to control the arm for Dragon to depart. It can't just undock itself. Now, Dragon 2 will. Let's see, I haven't even looked at chat, but probably most of the people in chat here probably know this stuff, but in case you don't, this was the last mission for the CRS-1 contract. Now, it can get a little bit confusing because each of these CRS missions is going CRS 1, 2, 3, 4 on up through 20, but they're all encompassed by the CRS-1 contract, which is the first round of cargo missions to the space station. And now that CRS-1 is over, CRS-2 will start, and SpaceX is going to start using the Dragon 2, which is basically the same as the crew capsule, just with a few differences. I need to stop that video. Now, we did learn from Hans Koenigsmann at the press briefing that it won't have an escape system, which may be obvious, but I thought, you never know. If Falcon 9 blows up, you do want to save it. Now, they don't necessarily need an escape system, but I'm assuming, I don't know if you guys remember, but after CRS-7, Elon had said that they didn't have it programmed to deploy the parachutes after something like that, and that they would in the future. So I'm assuming that Dragon 2 will have that at least, but there's no need for an escape system because there ain't no people. But
do you think Dragon 1 is going to end up on display somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's no way it wouldn't.
Yeah, and we've already got one here. We've got one at.
I mean, this is the last one's kind of.
I hope so. I mean, it'd be cool if it came here. I would love to see it. And speaking of things on display, Falcon 9 is now on display at Space Center Houston, and we all.
Wasn't there rumors that they're going to put one in the visitor center over here in Orlando or in
at Kennedy? Yes, and I think they still are. Maybe not. I don't know. It's kind of changed around, like what they're going to actually do with it. Like there was a rumor there for a while that it was going to go outside the Air Force Gate, up there by
Launch and Landing Control Center.
Right. I think the thing is, like the weird thing about it is that Delaware North, anybody that doesn't know, Kennedy Space Center is not run by NASA. It's run by an amusement park company called Delaware North. And they want SpaceX to pay for the display. Is that right? Like they wanted to pay for the display and maybe even maintenance. I'm not sure, but like
they probably want some kind of like, hey, we'll display it, but you gotta
pay to put it there, which seems. I mean, I don't know how much these things cost, but it's like you're at an amusement park, and this is going to draw people. Like this can be a big draw for Kennedy Space Center if they put a Falcon 9 in the Rocket Garden, dude. You're going to have people going that maybe used to go a lot but haven't been in a while because they've seen it all. They'll go back to see Falcon 9. I will. I haven't been inside there for a long time.
They rolled one out there. I saw it years ago.
I think they had one of the side cores for Falcon Heavy out there at one point.
Yeah, but that was just for like a few days or maybe a week or so, right? It wasn't for very long. Like to have one on display, and well, okay. So here's a good question for you guys. Would you rather have it displayed like this, horizontal, or have it vertical like it is at the Hawthorne
definitely
factory?
Vertical. Definitely vertical, man.
I can see the appeal to both, though. I would like to see vertical, though. But I was hearing that there are some legal requirements for it being vertical. It would need, the light
wires and all that stuff. All over.
Because I mean, I've been to the California one over in Hawthorne, and seen that one. And that one, I mean, it's really cool to see just vertically. I mean, it's definitely, everyone stops to take pictures. I think it was like a Wednesday night or something that I was out there, and at least 20 or 30 people had come up just to take pictures in front of it and then like leave. Like they all made the pilgrimage to see the Hawthorne Center.
The rocket.
Yeah.
But I can see the appeal for horizontal though, because I mean it allows more people to see it, and you can see more of the rocket, whereas vertically you'd be looking
more detail at the top of the rocket. Check out the fins.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
To see these guys real close.
See the charring too.
Oh yeah. Kegel, show that again. I'll click on you. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
3D printing over here. He's gonna have his own Falcon 9 here before too long.
Yeah, all made of PLA plastic.
It'll do fine.
Real far.
It'd be really cool. Wait, what?
I was gonna say now here soon comes something completely different. We are going to be getting a Delta.
When?
At the Rocket Garden.
Because didn't we hear about that like a year ago?
No, Tori was just there. He was just there a few weeks ago, scouting out where they're going to put it.
Well, that's cool. That means that maybe it's getting closer. But they did announce that like shortly after the last Delta 2 launch. They said that Kennedy's going to get one. I think it'd be neat because there's enough of these laying around that aren't going to be used again to just put one horizontal and one vertical.
Yeah, because Delta 2 is not. I mean, that's an old workhorse that's never going to go again. So to have that, to be able to check that out at Kennedy.
Oh yeah, cool. I think Delta's probably going to be vertical. The only horizontal one in the Rocket Garden is the Saturn 1B, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course Saturn 5 is horizontal also at the Apollo Center. But man, there's just something about seeing a rocket vertical.
Yeah.
It's ominous.
Well, there's going to be enough empty Falcon 9s. You can put one vertical and one.
Yeah, that's what I think they should do.
A full thing?
Well, yeah, have the one standing up on its feet.
They'll have to pay twice.
Well, what if they make some kind of deal? SpaceX buys one there and they
2
buy
for
the
1.
other one.
Yeah.
Why have one when you could have two for twice the price?
And BOGO, buy one get one free.
Yeah. If I got a special gold coin for anybody that knows what that comes from.
A gold copper coin.
It's not gold, it's copper. I looked at it wrong. I got a fresh copper coin for anyone that knows where that quote comes from. The why have one when you can have two for twice the price? Right, let's check chat. Chat.
I want another clue if we can't get it figured out.
Oh, well, this could be a clue.
Is Kevin Bacon in it?
I meant to have this pulled up. This is something that I worked very hard on last night after mine and Becca's other show with our friends. It's called Verbal Assault, but
you worked very hard on it.
Very hard on this for literally minutes.
Is it Daddy Elon?
No, it's this right here.
Oh my God. The never-ending story.
Well, there you go. Okay.
Daryl in chat says contact.
Yes. There you go. Yeah, Daryl's a man.
Really?
Yep.
I watched that like 2 months ago. How did I not
have
get that?
one when you can have two for twice the price? And
Who
he's like
says
floating around. It's the guy, the Asian dude that flies around in his plane, he's got his own space station. Actually, he starts out in a plane, and then later on in the movie, he's in a space station. But he's the guy that funds the second one, the second machine after the first one was destroyed, and then he calls up Ellie and says, "You want to ride?"
Is that the way he said it too?
Yeah. Or no, he goes, "You want to go for a ride?"
Was he Joker?
He definitely looks creepy when he says it. But yeah, y'all look. This is beautiful.
It's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
It belongs in a museum.
Carl Sagan riding on Falcor.
It's a real picture.
I took this picture last night. He just looks so relaxed. He's just so happy to be riding on Falcor.
Wouldn't you be?
Yes, I would.
Right?
Let's be honest. Okay, let's see. What am I missing here? Oh yeah, before we started, and I have the picture pulled up. We were talking about the time that you went and watched, or we're gonna watch a launch from Wallops. And we were talking about just how close you can get to that launch pad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those spots. I mean, even like so, they closed off the spot in one of the pictures you're going to show. Actually, that one right there. They closed that off to the public after the explosion.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that? It was a few years back, wasn't it? Time flies.
It was
but
2014.
Yeah,
it was October of 2014 because it was before CRS-7. I remember.
Yeah, but they closed that off, and that picture's from like I think 0.9 miles away, almost. It was under a mile, I'm pretty sure.
And you could watch a launch from there, just public, right?
Yeah,
like anybody.
Yeah, public. You could pull up with your trucks and crack a beer and watch a launch go off.
Oh man,
it's pretty insane. And these rockets, I'm pretty sure Antares is half the size of Falcon 9.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's a pretty small rocket. So I mean, to be under a mile and see as much detail as you see, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And they redirect you from there about an hour before launch. So cops will come and pull everyone back and say, talk with a local, find another spot, or drive, a couple miles north. And after talking with a lot of the locals at bars the night before, we decided on one spot that was, I think it was under 2 miles. It was like 1.9-ish miles away. It was actually just down the road from there. Yeah,
that's closer than the press sites here.
Oh yeah, super close. So yeah, it's just crazy how close you can get.
Yeah.
To those. Would have loved to see. I can't wait for Electron to start launching out of there too. I'm definitely going to go back up for that.
I wonder if Electron, they might let you be at that closer spot because it really is a small rocket. Like, I mean, an explosion's an explosion, but not all explosions are created equal. I don't think something that small. I don't know how far it could even potentially throw something. But I was saying before the show, I was like it's kind of crazy how it takes an explosion for them to say, maybe we shouldn't let people be just a mile away from this thing.
Oh yeah,
that was a scary one, man. Like, that was before, like, I would watch these webcasts at just about every chance I got. If I wasn't working, I would always I wouldn't necessarily. Nowadays I watch the launches all the time, but back then it was like a friend of mine texted me like, "Hey, a rocket blew up up in Virginia or something," and didn't know what it was. They knew I was kind of into it, and so it didn't take long, and I saw it. And man, that video, it's like raining fire down. And actually, I wish I could remember who it was. It was somebody that's in the media group around here. I want to say it might be Mike from US Launch Report or somebody, but somebody had a video camera out there for that and has video of the fire creeping towards his camera and stopping like right before the fire got to his camera.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to locals about that explosion actually the night before, and they were saying that people were crawling under their trucks and just hitting the deck.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I think I was telling you before we started. They were actually going to keep that spot open for launches until a couple people got together and decided that they try suing for damages and whatnot. So, but yeah, it's super close.
Man, that sucks. I hate that, man. Like, you gotta ruin it for everybody else.
Excited.
Yeah,
I got super excited when we got out there because everyone said, the road's going to be closed. Don't even try going to that spot. Went there. There was no signs, nothing up until an hour, 2 hours before launch. They came up and told everyone to kind of pack up and leave. We had guys setting up cameras and microphones and everything, and they couldn't go back to pick them up. I'm pretty sure. So, beware if you're going up there.
Did you go as media or?
No, I wanted to go and get the just the feeling of being a public watcher there, just because I do eventually want to start making key launch information pages for them and Facebook events and whatnot, because if you're trying to watch a launch up there, there's literally no launch guides really. Like, there's a couple, but they're very outdated, and a lot of them just tell you to go to the Space Center to watch it, which, according to locals, is a few miles further than where a lot of places offer viewing. So it's not necessarily the best.
Right.
And it is a very remote location, and the best way, like I was telling you before, that we could find out information on launch viewing areas was just to go up to locals at bars and ask them, hey, you're watching the launch, where are you watching from? Or just overhearing their conversation and kind of taking notes and whatnot.
Now, what's it like up there, like with the locals? Like, do they really get into that stuff?
I would say so. It's mostly because, we stayed in an area called Saxus, and it was a very backwoods area. There wasn't many people, more homes than there were people, I'd say. Yeah. We went over to one of the bars, and I'd say most of the people in that area were just kind of hanging out there. They're all very nice people. They were excited because there's nothing really else that goes on up there, I would say. But they would, tell you all the insider secrets and whatnot, all the secret locations, whose farm to stand on was one of them. They're like, yeah, you can go up and ask them just to, stand on their backyard.
There's a whole bunch of Julias around there.
Yeah, a bunch of Julias, yeah. Well,
no, I'm not sure if I caught any Julias, but
I bet, they don't get a lot of launches. What do they get? Like 4 or 5 a year?
Oh yeah.
So I guess it's, you don't get as, like, here is like everybody, it's like old hat,
It's almost weekly now. What we had, like, one launch already this month or two.
Yeah, we're gonna be 3 launches in 3 weeks by the end of this. Actually, no, okay, so yeah, we've got this one this Saturday. You've got Atlas 5 next Saturday, and then Salcom is the 30th. What is it? What day is it?
Yeah, 30th.
Actually, I've got
Talking about all these launches coming up, do you think they might postpone some launches for gatherings of crowds?
I doubt it. The mission doesn't rely on the people watching it.
But it does make a crowd, so it could be a health hazard for spreading.
I just tell people not to go.
That works.
Right.
Look, they had to close Disney.
You ain't gonna stop me. I mean,
gonna go and spread.
Like, yeah, that I don't see it. It's too much of an integral part of not just our economy. I mean, this is like
but look,
government stuff.
The economy out the window. Look, they've closed down theme parks. Like that is the heart of Orlando is now closed.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney closes Saturday or Sunday for 2 weeks
until the 1st of April.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you can't go economy because Orlando wants that to be open, but
I think it's
crowds.
I don't know, man. That's
little
tough.
local events around here being closed. Shut down festivals. I don't know. I just wonder if that's gonna happen. If that could postpone anything.
Yeah,
I would say it's doubtful.
Yeah,
but
I think it's doubtful.
Yeah,
it's because I mean,
you also have hundreds of millions going into these missions too.
Yeah,
a lot of them are very time sensitive.
Money and I don't think that matters.
Well, if it happens, we're all going to owe
someone the CDC or anyone's like, hey, we can't have all these crowds.
Yeah, and then some of them are national security payloads. Like the AEHF-6. That's national security. Now it's not like any of these are like if we don't launch them now, then we won't be able to do it. It's not like a Mars window or something.
Like dire. So, that's what I'm saying. I was like, it could be postponed. It's not.
Oh, Kyle said he's not going to Jetty. He said he's definitely not going to Jetty. Yeah, I think that's smart. Don't go where that you're going to be shoulder to shoulder with people. I mean, the beach is still good. Lots of places along US 1. I mean, man, it is weird. Like we have to actually think about this stuff now, and we don't know for how long.
Yeah.
Then it's already. I mean, the cruise ships being stopped is going to affect the Space Coast more than anything.
Yeah, not having some
that could be way worse than some launches. That's every day people aren't coming in.
Yeah, that's what's kind of got me concerned. We're supposed to be in like the best time of year for our business, and we don't like you see people going to the beach and stuff, but it's not quite like it usually is for spring break.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see, this weekend what kind of turnout there is, but yeah, it's weird. Becca said she heard that a couple cruise ships went out with no one on board.
Empty, completely empty.
Not even a captain.
And I found out today that a couple, like some of the schools,
autopilot on it.
Some of the schools in the area are extending their spring break. Basically, like they said, like they're changing it to where they can't go back for 3 weeks instead of just 1. So I don't know if that's going to be a nationwide kind of situation or what. But
I'm sure it'll trickle down.
And all the state universities, I think, were closed or doing distance learning until April 4th or 5th, I want to say.
Yeah.
Distance.
Yeah. So like online type stuff and just do your homework, I guess. But,
yeah, Daryl said he's going to skip Starlink. It might be smart. I don't know. I mean, we're here, so it's not like, we don't have to travel to do it, but
yeah.
I guess if I did, then I might be like, yeah, I'll wait till later in the year. Let's see. Kyle said, I'll go to Jetty, just not the pier. Okay, most launches I'll avoid people just for the angle I want, but now I have double reason to avoid people. You right. All right, what else we got here? We got, capture confirmed. We got Falcon 9 there. Oh, I wanted to, now I can't play the audio of this because I'm worried that YouTube will take this video down, take this episode down. But Lindsey Sterling, who is an amazing musician, I heard about her years ago. She's a violinist, but all of her music has like dubstep tendencies in it. But she did a video at Kennedy, like on the roof of the firing rooms, and there's a lot of footage sprinkled in of like Artemis and SLS stuff, and little tidbits and facts, about the Artemis program. But I just want to really encourage anybody that hasn't already seen this video and heard her music, man. You'll go down a rabbit hole with this woman.
For real,
Very good.
any interest you've ever had, there's probably a song like from like a theme song for almost anything from nerd culture for sure.
Oh yeah, there's that Zelda one. That's how you got into it, right? Was the Zelda
course.
one? Yeah, and she's dressed up like Link, but yeah, and it's the Zelda theme song, and then it's just so much. She's got one where she's in some kind of like ice sculpture, walking around, playing her violin and stuff.
Yeah.
Some heavy Fifth Element vibes from the Artemis video, though.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that Artemis tour, she's not coming to Florida. I don't understand why she's not coming to Florida.
That is
man.
crazy. Maybe she already played here and we just didn't hear about it.
Yeah, but your tour is called the Artemis Tour. Why would you not come to Florida?
Wait, has the tour started though? Because that's what I was
No,
thinking. I was thinking maybe that
she hasn't. No,
okay.
She hasn't started yet. Yeah, she hasn't started the tour yet. So it's like, Lindsay, if you're watching this, we want to see you.
Yeah.
Lindsay, if you're watching this,
Well, I know.
I want to see you.
Yeah, I mean, we've got like 10, 9 people in the chat. One of them could be Lindsay Sterling.
is
Yeah,
definitely is.
one could hope.
Yeah.
Come to Florida so we could see you play.
Yeah,
You're
so
great.
you can either go to her Twitter or you can easily find it on YouTube, Lindsay Sterling Artemis, and you'll find this video.
Her outfit reminds me of the bandage outfit from Fifth Element.
Yeah, someone said Fifth Element vibes.
Oh, someone said that.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't.
You were trying to remember what it was.
I was trying to see how long. It says you could play possibly up to 30 seconds before getting shut down from YouTube on a video.
I don't know. On Verbal Assault, we had a video. We did an episode, and then like 5 minutes after it was over, we got a message from YouTube that said this video is now banned for viewing worldwide because of some video we played that. I don't know. It had some song playing in the background, and I guess it triggered something, and we just immediately got banned. And it was a huge pain because I had to take it and cut that part out and all that kind of stuff.
Those algorithms are relentless.
Yeah, man, and you can't do anything. Hell, the theme song on that show, we got the approval from the guy that wrote it, from Haywood Banks, who Beck has been a fan of her entire life, and she reached out to him and said, "Hey, I've been a fan my whole life. Is it okay if we use this song as our theme song?" It's like a 30-second song, and we played at the beginning of every episode. And every episode, when I go into like the dashboard on YouTube, every one of them has a copyright strike on it. But it's not like where it won't be viewed. It's just we can't monetize it. But that's fine. We're not big enough to monetize anyway. But in the future, if we ever were, we would have to change that song, even though we got permission from the writer of the song.
Well, they can't. They don't know that.
I guess.
No, you can send permission. You can, if you get permission from writing, and then you send it.
Yeah, we'd have to get him to write. Yeah.
I have it in writing. It was all done through a message, so I have it in writing already.
Send it to YouTube and see if they ever pay attention to it.
Yeah, right. Okay, moving on. The day after last week's episode, so this probably feels like old news to everybody, but there was a big teleconference where Boeing and NASA people and then some media people were talking about Starliner and some of the issues that they had, and it was a lot of technical jargon, and I was actually getting ready to go up to Kennedy to get press badges and stuff, and I was trying to pay attention and trying to understand it, and it was a lot of technical jargon, but they found 61 corrective actions that they need to address, and 2 of these issues, let's see, the direct quote is, "This was a close call. We could have lost the spacecraft twice during this mission," and that comes from the NASA Associate Administrator Doug Lavero.
Wow.
And one of the reporters asked him directly, "Are they going to have to refly OFT, which is the orbital flight test? That is the one without the crew," and they still don't know. But to reiterate something that's been known for a while, Boeing has already set aside funds to fly that mission, which is $410 million to refly that mission. I guess that's for a new spacecraft. I mean, because I know Atlas don't cost that much, right?
Yeah.
Atlas is what, like 150 million or something like that, 200 million. Does anybody remember?
I lost that in the stock market today. It's fine.
Shoot, I'm about to make a bunch of money off Carnival. I bought 3 shares.
You just yeah. 3 months from now when it goes back up, maybe.
Yeah, fine. So I ain't gonna miss that money for now.
It will go back up.
Yeah, it's gonna go back up. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I don't know if there's anything really in here. Let's see. That's worth pointing out. We all know there were issues. It's mostly software related. I'm not sure if any of them were hardware. Maybe I can just do a quick search on this page to see if any were hardware. No, it doesn't have the word hardware in here. But it's pretty much all software. They're gonna have to go line by line through the code. There was a lot of talk about tests that they didn't do, which in hindsight now they realize they should have done. And you want to give these guys the benefit of the doubt, just if nothing else for the sake of the engineers and the people on the ground that are actually working on this spacecraft, because it's not them. They're following orders, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, hey, maybe we should run this whole thing all connected together.
Yeah, right. The full stack. They didn't even think to do that.
Yeah, they didn't run Starliner, Starliner computers connected to Atlas V computers, run it and see what it is going to do. Because they could have caught that, I guess.
And actually, I mean, I'd seen that the SpaceX webcast actually took a dig at them for that.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it that they did?
They commented something saying, "Oh, that was when Dragon confirmed its timing with Falcon 9, or it was something along those lines."
Oh man,
that instantly became a meme in the community.
That's edgy, man. There's a part of me that kind of wishes that they wouldn't do that stuff. That they'd be a little more friendly to the industry at large. But at the same time, there is a certain thing that sets them apart.
Yeah,
that they
hardware, man.
They've got a different kind of way of looking at things and a different kind of attitude, a different approach, and their approach is test. Like test. They love testing. Supposedly, it's what everybody says. I've never worked there, but it seems like they just are okay with testing. Because you do that test now, and tests aren't free, but they're a lot cheaper than the aftermath of something going wrong. I mean, imagine how much, whoever the decision makers are over at Boeing that decided not to do certain tests because, maybe some of them kind of, I don't know, they didn't think to run certain tests, but a test like having Starliner connected to Atlas V, run the simulation, that had to have come up at some point, and someone said, no, we don't need to do that. Yeah. And imagine what they're feeling right now when they should be on their way to getting crew ready, getting Chris Ferguson. Oh, by the way, I saw Chris Ferguson, y'all, walking down the road. I kid you not, man. I'm like 90% sure because I didn't want to stop and hassle the guy. But I went up a road. I won't even say where. I don't want people trying to figure out where he lives or where, because I don't think he actually lives here. I think that maybe has a temporary home here because I think they probably live in Houston or spend most of their time in Houston. But I went one direction and I saw and I was like, man, that looks an awful lot like Chris Ferguson. And then I went down that road. And then when I was done down at the end of that road, I was delivering pizza. And then on the way back, sure enough, the person was still walking and I was coming up to a stop sign. So it was like, I didn't have to be a creep and like slow down and like, huh? But, man, it was him. It had to be him. Like it looked just like him. I'm like, that is, I mean, same build, I've seen pictures of him, and video, and, you kind of see how a person walks and stuff. It's like, man, that was Chris Ferguson, and I wish that I could have like stopped, like, shake his hand, and say, man, I'm rooting for you, don't worry about what all them naysayers say, man. You guys are doing great. You're gonna get up there, something along those lines,
Should have rolled on you and be like, "Hey, you Chris?
Hey, new phone, you Chris?
Are you Chris?"
Hey, come here, come on over here. Let me look at you. You look space ready. Shoo. Right? But yeah, anyway, yeah. So what was I talking about? Yeah, so Starliner, we'll see it fly. I kind of miss a few months ago when it was like kind of neck and neck, like who's going to fly first, and now it's just kind of becoming obvious that Dragon's going to get to go first. Which, I mean, look, it is SpaceX that got me into this, and so I've in my heart, I'm always kind of silently rooting for SpaceX, but I don't want to see anybody, being held back by, kind of stupid mistakes like this,
And for a little bit, it looked like Boeing might have come out on top after the Crew Dragon anomaly.
Right.
And the static fire. There was a lot of talk about if Boeing would be first.
Mm-hmm.
But here we are.
Here we are. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, that's right. ExoMars.
Oh, that's a good point. Jack just said here that he hopes the 45th Space Wing Social still happens. Oh, I didn't think about that.
I could get canceled, yeah.
Oh, good point, Jack. I didn't even think about that.
The 45th Space Wing, they're doing socials now, like NASA socials, but they're doing them themselves, where they're inviting, social media people to kind of do a similar thing to what the NASA socials are. It's actually, well, it wasn't 45th, but it was for ULA. Me and Matt got to do the ULA social, and it was really cool. We got to tour the, inside of the warehouse for ULA and stuff.
Nice.
And I'm sure it's going to be very, very similar, but yeah, man, they might just cancel that.
Oh, that would suck.
That'd be a bummer, man.
Because I know somebody's going.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter. I don't remember everybody that got accepted, but I've seen a lot of people mention that they got accepted, and that's a bummer, man. That's one of those things you really look forward to, and especially like with that, like it's like that draws in the hardcore people, because NASA social, they cast a broad net with the NASA socials, and they get kind of everybody, and that's really great, because it spreads the word of NASA. But that anybody that got into the 45th one, they're like hardcore, they're like really into this stuff and really looking forward to it. So I hope it continues. At the same time, I would like for everything to go back to normal as quickly as possible. And if that means that we kind of got to stay away from each other for a while, then maybe.
Be it.
Let's see. I think, hell, I guess we're getting, we're over an hour. Let's say this will be the last thing. So ExoMars, unfortunately, got delayed to 2022, and it had already been delayed. I don't know if you guys knew this. It was already delayed from 2018. They are still having issues with their parachutes and apparently some electronics. Let's see. They did some. It was in August that they did some parachute tests that failed. Man, I thought I'd find it real quick. Yeah, they failed some tests, and they were gonna do some tests again in like January, but then they pushed that back to the end of March, and they're just getting to the point where the stuff's just not going to be ready. Like the rocket's ready, the rover is ready for all intents and purposes. They're ready, but they've got these issues, and it's somewhere in this article, and this is on Space News. I highly recommend anybody, you're looking for good news, Space News is a good place to get it. But they had to send some electronic stuff back to the manufacturer, I guess, for fixing stuff. I don't know. It's just a bummer because the idea behind the ExoMars rover is they were going to search for signs of life beneath the surface, like up to 2 meters below the surface. So we just have to wait a couple more years on that. And I actually I looked up a video I wanted to find an animation to kind of explain why, when a Mars mission gets delayed, why it has to be delayed for so long. So, and whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So yeah, Jacob Medler made this animation. So if you watch, okay, so here, let's wait for Earth and Mars. Okay, they lined up here. So that's 1 year, and then there's 2 years and a little bit more. So that's 26 months every time that they line up. So that's why, because the Earth is on the inside track and, Mars is just, one lane on the outside, just come around on the outside. The inside line's always faster. Come on, you guys like NASCAR, don't you? So yeah, in case anybody out there, in internet land doesn't know why, like, if you don't launch to Mars in this certain time frame, you ain't launching for another 2 years. That's why, because the Earth orbits the sun faster than Mars. But even when Earth comes back around to where it once was, Mars ain't there no more. Mars is almost like on the opposite side of the sun when the Earth completes one revolution. So it's got to wait till it completes another one and then a little bit more to come back around and actually line up with Mars again. And you could launch to Mars any time of year. It's just going to take a ton of energy, like more than what it's worth. And we don't make rockets like that, and it's just not very efficient. And you end up having your spacecraft out there longer than it has to. Because the way we do it now, they call it a Hohmann transfer, and I'm not going to try to explain what that is. But it gets them there anywhere between like 6 and 9 months, I think. I don't know if any of our probes or rovers or anything have we ever actually only taken 6 months to get to Mars? Is it just like we theoretically could get there in 6 months if we really wanted to?
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah.
I remember how long like Curiosity and them took to get over there.
I know it's a few
Curiosity was like 9. I'm pretty sure, like 8 or 9 months. I don't know if we've ever gotten anything there that fast. I don't think I'll give it a shot, but I don't think Google's going to return anything. Fastest trip to Mars. Please tell me it's 30 seconds. Fastest spacecraft launched from Earth was NASA's New Horizons mission. Oh, no, that doesn't.
I'm on the case too.
Oh wait, if such a probe traveled in a straight line to Mars, the time it would take to get to Mars would be 39 days?
Really?
Oh.
I just Googled how long to get to Mars, and it says 150 to 300 days.
So that's 5 months to 10 months. 5 to 10 months. I mean, they always say, 6 to 9 months usually, but I'm just curious if anything has ever actually gotten there that fast. Well, all right. So at least we still have we have Perseverance coming, Mars 2020. Mm-hmm. That'll be July, hopefully. There is it's like a 2-month launch window, so if they need to delay a little bit, they can. They got a little bit to play with. That's going to be a big one. That's going to be one that aside from DM2, the first flight of astronauts, that and Perseverance, those are two that I really hope that we're able to get in and cover up close.
I'm pretty sure that one also has some instruments that'll be testing for life signatures or like organic signatures or something.
Yeah, they do. I don't think they're digging. They're not digging in though, are they?
No, I don't think so. I think it was just surface.
Right.
If I remember correctly. It's been a while since I read up on it though.
Mm-hmm. All right, well let's wrap this up. So, Chance, I guess we didn't really go into what it is that 360, the Launch 360 does now, because you've got your 360 videos, and everybody should definitely go check that out. But now you're kind of doing like launch updates and news and stuff. You want to tell people about that?
Yeah. So, like I was saying in the beginning of the podcast, Launch 360 was made by a group of students. It was myself and 2 friends. And we've kind of all just graduated, and we're all out in the real world, job hunting and moving away and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it went from a very time intensive, 360 videos and some side projects. We also had an app in the works. We did get a good amount of work done on that, but then graduation happened and we all started moving away.
Yeah.
So right now it's more of an information kind of hub. I'll do key launch information pages. We'll do the Facebook events, and kind of keep going on that just to keep everyone informed of when the next one is. And then we'll play around a bit more, some more ideas, and kind of see what we can do. It all depends on jobs and whatnot in the future. Just getting into the real world. As students, had all the time in the world, but
Right.
now we're kind of moving on.
And I feel like this is maybe a good opportunity to explain to anybody that may not know this. The way Facebook does their events, they only allow you so many edits to your date and time and stuff.
It's terrible.
So every once in a while, go ahead if you use Facebook, get on there and follow Launch360 or hit the like or however it works on there. And if
How that Facebook works.
however that Facebook machine works. I try to stay off it as much as possible. But every once in a while, and it's the same thing with, like, we have our page and we'll do an event for stuff and Next Horizons and everything. And we deal with it too. And if there's ever a launch that gets moved more than like 3 times or
Yeah,
4
it's like 3 or
times,
4 times. They'll, like, if you have under a certain amount of people saying that they're going to go, a certain amount of attendees, I think it's like 1,000 or 2,000. They'll allow you to change it, I think 5 or 6ish times. But then after that, it starts, like, after the first change, you have 3 more. And then it's bit more ruthless.
And then you have to make an entirely new event.
Entirely new one, which is
Why?
a nightmare. I have a feeling, and one of my friends brought this up too, it's a pretty good reason. People would make these pages and then make these events and amass a bunch of followers through those events, because it's practically free marketing at that point. If you have 100,000, 200,000 people saying they're going to go, and then you delay it a day, and you just kind of keep that going just to get people following, like, I don't know, your meme page or whatever page you have going on there, and just use it as free advertising.
Right, because if you ever click that you're interested, then it like alerts you every time there's a post in that event.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's easy to get people's attention that way.
Yep.
Jack Sweeney said that KSC tours got canceled. Not sure about the visitor complex. Man, it's coming to an end, y'all.
Yep.
Well, at least for a few weeks, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, so launches coming up. I want to start doing this where we kind of run down some of the launches that are coming up. I think we kind of did it already, but of course this weekend, Saturday morning, 9:42 a.m. You got a Starlink. Some people are going to call it Starlink 5. Let's just say I was actually talking to John Krause about this at the press site, and he's like, just call it the 6th Starlink launch, and that just will eliminate any confusion, and I like that. So the 6th Starlink launch is Saturday morning, the 14th, 9:42, with the backup day the next day, which, if I was a betting man, I'd say the time would be something like 9:15 or so, 9:20, something like that, because I think it backs up by like 20 minutes or so.
Oh, it'll go backwards?
I think so. And then you've got Atlas 5 on March 21st, exactly 7 days later, and that'll be an afternoon launch. 3:14 to 5:14 is your window. So you got a 2-hour launch window there. And then the one that we're looking forward to in terms of just aesthetics is the Salcom on March 30th. That's a Falcon 9. That'll be the first polar launch from Cape Canaveral in decades, literally.
That's going to be a good one.
And it's going to be right around sunset. Let's see, 7:21. So what was it, like 7:45 is sunset on that day, right? It's like shortly, it's not long before sunset. And what we're hoping for is we're going to have some cool views of the boost back burn and maybe the cold gas thrusters doing their little psh, psh, psh thing. Because when the angle of the sun is just right, you can see things that you typically wouldn't be able to see.
I think it was the Salcom 1A that we got those really cool views in California.
That's right. Yeah. You could see these ripples coming out from the booster.
It was unreal.
Yeah. And then I think as far as like from here, from the Space Coast, that I guess they actually have a date for GPS 3. That's April 29th, but I'm sure there'll be another launch. There'll probably be another Starlink between now and then.
Yeah.
But those are the launches coming up, y'all, from the Space Coast. I mean, if you want to know about ones in Russia, well, you can look it up.
It's out there.
They're out there, yes, for sure. All right, well, chat. Thanks for hanging out, y'all, and we'll see y'all next week. Thanks, Chance, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Play us out, Kegel.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.